All right, let's try to find an angle using trigonometry. We have a right triangle here. We can tell because of this symbol. They gave us the hypotenuse, so I'm going to label that. And they gave us a side here, but I don't know if it's the opposite or the adjacent yet because it all depends on which angle is our reference angle. So let's see what they're asking for. We go over to the question, and it says, what is the measure of angle U? So this is our reference angle up here, which means that this side that they gave us is opposite. So now I can focus on opposite and hypotenuse. That is sine. The sine of an angle is equal to the opposite over the hypotenuse. That's the definition. So let's plug in the information they gave us. Well, do we know the sine? No, we don't. That's what we're asking for. So this is our variable. The opposite is 2 radical 42. I plug that in or substitute that into the formula, into the ratio. And the hypotenuse is 4 radical 42. And so now our goal is simply to isolate the unknown, the variable, because that will give us the answer if we can do that. Well, what can we do first? The first thing I noticed is that radical 42 over radical 42 can be simplified. It cancels out. So I'm left with 2 over 4. In other words, the sine of the angle is equal to 2 over 4, or 1/2, just reducing that fraction. Now, if my goal is to get the angle by itself, and it has a trig function next to it, in order to cancel that out, I would need to take the inverse of that trig function. And what I do to one side, I must do to the other. So this will allow me to cancel the trig function, giving me the angle by itself, but I need to figure out the inverse sine of 1/2. So I'm going to have to ask a trig calculator. Clear it. And I'm going to type in 1/2, 1 divided by 2. And then I'm going to say, what's the inverse sine of that? So I'm going to click the green second button so that I can access the inverse of sine. When I do that, it tells me 30. Whoops. So what that means is that the angle is 30 degrees. Let's look at the picture and see if that makes sense. The angle in question is angle U, and we're saying it's 30 degrees. Well, it certainly seems reasonable that the angle is only 30 degrees.